Hi, Mark Warnke here with PackGoats.com. Hey, I wanted to do a quick video on the different personalities that seem to be kind of reoccurring among goats and help you with problems that you might be having, and just kind of talk about that in general. This is Eli. He was kind of one of my rescue goats. He lived in a teeny little enclosure. I know he wasn't well taken care of. He was scared, and he's always been kind of scared and untrusting. I think who had him before really beat on him or something. So I've always had to kind of just treat him gentle and go on. And just know he's a goat that I call a face sniffer. Some of these goats, they just really need to, he won't do it right now because he's nervous, but he likes his cheek patch rubbed. That's where his loving spot is. And every goat kind of has their loving spot, but he doesn't like to be caught. He kind of stays away. He's my problem child, but he's really good on the trail and he's worth having around. So just know these goats that are a little more cautious, if you learn how to kind of approach them. And when I approach Eli, I approach him with open arms, and I'm just patient with him. I don't play the chase game. I just kind of stay consistently and I talk to him, and he knows that he's going to kind of stay away for a little bit, but eventually he submits. And so that's how that works. Now, this is the baby pack, and Bruno here is an example of a goat that showed early signs of aggression. He still is kind of pushy with his horns, so I have to be cognizant to teach him not to do that. I never love him up here. I always love him in his body so he can learn that I don't really communicate with his horns. He is my pest in the pasture. He goes over to the cameraman, he'll rub, he does all kinds of different things. When I'm working, he's always right there. That's his personality. He needs love. He can never have enough. It's kind of like he's that bucket with a hole in it. This is Blaze, and Blaze, and again, most of these goats are all Dwight Sharp's goats. And Blaze is just a super amicable, go along, come along face sniffer. Blaze is almost like a guy girl, and Blaze just wants love. He talks. He's that one that you just almost kind of forget about because he's no trouble. Super loyal and following. He's an example of Dwight Sharp's multi-hybrid. He's got Ober in him, he's got Sonnet in him, he has Boer in him, and he has Alpine in him. And so he's got such a great way about him. His disposition is awesome. He's going to be huge. He's one of my largest tracked babies at this point. And he's just got an incredible disposition. This is Chester. Chester doesn't really love. He's got a way that he does this interesting head rub that he does, so I'll see if he'll do it for me right now. But he likes to rub his face against me, and lots of times it's kind of intermittent. But if I really address him and come over to him, he won't stand and get love. He's my string leader. He's an example of a dam raised goat. He'll do whatever it takes to keep up with me. He's super committed, super loyal, and again, he's my string leader. He's one of the best goats I have. But he doesn't necessarily love or ask for it or any of that kind of thing. He just kind of always wants to be around. He's just not a big love seeker. This is Buck. Buck is another example. This is one of my goats that I bred to my doe that I've since sold, and I bred with Kim Hellam's buck, which was a beautiful buck, and we'll see how he ends up. I love his body and everything else. I get a little concerned about black goats because they just get so much hotter to the touch, and he is showing that tendency that he absorbs heat, he pants a little more, but I haven't had enough time with it yet. I think in general what happens with these babies, especially in their first year, is they just don't transfer heat as well, and I happen to probably be noticing it more with him and associating with the black. So what I do know is that dark goats get definitely hotter on their outside surface. I can't really say that I know for sure that I would avoid dark goats in the future, but it does concern me. But the answer, hey, get out of there, get! Is definitely to not do that, and he still likes to occasionally jump in there. Now let's speak to that real quick, because babies in the feeder is a huge problem with parasite spreading and that sort of thing. He gets in this one occasionally, like he just did, to get to some of the better feed. But what I find, because of the construction that I've done with this one now, is that he never beds in it. He never spends any amount of time in there. So I still haven't found 100% way to keep all the babies out of the feeders yet. Unfortunately, after months and months, all of a sudden he started getting in there again, and now he's figured out his way. And so I'm still pretty frustrated with how to crack that nut. I haven't done it yet. How do you feed horn feeders without waste and keeping babies out? It's just challenging. I still haven't done it, and I'm excited to see what others can do. But Buck is another one. Buck is another one, by the way, who showed super big signs of aggression towards other people, kids, and I had to flip him a bunch of times, and he's turned. He's kind and gentle now. He doesn't show any aggression towards my children. He's mellowed out. We kind of went through that adolescent stage. He's coming for love. He's trusting me again. Because remember, they kind of lose trust in you when you keep flipping them. So now we're just loving him up. Any children I have come in the pasture, I have them come address him away from his head and love him up. He doesn't hackle up anymore. Remember, when a goat hackles up, it either means he's being aggressive or he's super excited. So you've got to be careful how you read that. Same with the tail wag. The tail wag means both nervous and excited. So you kind of got to pay attention to what that is as well. So let's shift over to a couple other goats. Now, Merciless is an example of a goat that intimidates everybody out of the gate because he's just got such giant horns. Sorry, that goat's messing with my camera gal. But anyway, Merciless is an example of a big alpine. He's 223 pounds. He got injured in the pasture, and we're trying to work through his injury and his back injury with the chiropractor, and it's gone really well. He's definitely shown progress. I don't think he's 100% yet because he's still getting sore when he carries loads, and so the verdict is still not fully out with that, but definitely he's gotten value out of it, no questions asked. Now we're starting to play with some anti-inflammatories and see if we can get it to go in there. So it's a process. Merciless is an example of a goat who is the alpha in the pasture, but he's amicable to run third, fourth, fifth. He doesn't care where he is in the string. He's not really committed to being out front, whereas Chester is not the pasture alpha at all, but he's super committed to being in front, and he just outworks everybody. He doesn't out-jerk them. Merciless is able to full-on blast another goat. Go on, psst, psst, go on. He's full-on able to blast another goat and not feel bad about it. He's got the inner jerk in the pasture. He just doesn't on the trail to be a good alpha. So he's also one of the most loving goats. He's almost always the first goat to come to me. He's quiet, so I greet him in that way. And then I'm going to shift to one of our newest goats, Coulter, who's bothering my cameraman over here. Now, Coulter is an example of a super leggy. I mean, he's the tallest goat I have. He also has a sway back, which I'm trying to work out of him. I'm trying to help strengthen his back muscles there's a technique to touch under their belly and get them to arch up. You can see, if you'll let me. It's okay, hey, Coulter, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, buddy, it's okay. He's still learning to trust me. We've only had him about a month. So if you actually come over here, now I got a goat who doesn't know if he should be scared of me or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower my posture, and I'm going to come up to him. I'm going to love him the way he wants to be loved. Coulter likes his cheeks rubbed. So I'm going to come in and earn his trust again and let him know I'm friendly. Okay, so this is the way he likes to feel loved. He now feels really safe. I'm lower than him. And then we're going, okay, I'm not trying to hurt you. Do you see him? He just relaxed. So again, a scared goat is not a trainable goat, nor is it a goat that you can really work with. You have to help him through that process before you can do something with him. But Coulter is an example of a flighty goat. He does everything quick. He's not very mindful where his horns are. He's bumped me a few times already because he's not very mindful of it. And he's also been really vocal, but it usually takes about 6 full weeks for a goat to settle in to show you his personality. So I don't really know what he is yet. I'm just trying to put weight on him, help his back, help him feel safe, get into the string, and he's eating lots of groceries. He's gained already like 12 pounds in a month since I've owned him. So he's putting on weight, and I think he's going to be, kind of a different goat as we move forward. I still think he's going to end up being a real good one in my string. Kind of lucky. I'm not able to find adults very often. It's like 1 in 7 or 8 that actually work and I keep. So anyway, so let's move over to the last couple of goats. So this is Noah. Come on, Noah. Noah likes his groceries. He's a saber. Okay, come on, stand up. So anyway, Noah is, because he's a saber and he's got that whole gentleness in him, he'll never be the alpha. He's a willing follower. He's 204 pounds as a 3-year-old. He's not super leggy, but if you look at my tallest jump up spot on my play structure, him and only 2 of my other goats can jump on top of it just freestanding. So don't take this frame for granted or lightly. He's my strongest goat in terms of trying to hold him back on the leash. He is just brute strong. He has the biggest neck, and he also can jump as well as any of my goats. So he's agile, he's good, he's more than he appears because he doesn't have what I kind of have as my standard, which is leggy, thin, athletic. He's athletic, but he's not leggy or thin. You know, he's kind of a big giant fullback. But he's way more agile than he appears, and again, this is another Dwight Sharp goat and best breeder in the country. And really the last one is Ridge and Thorn. Ridge and Thorn, a lot of you already know them because they're brothers. Come here, Ridgie. Ridge, he's thinking I'm maybe going to grab him, which anyway. So Ridge is, traditionally he's one of the first goats in the pasture to come to me. He's an example on the trail of a goat that's kind of a pain in the butt. He's that one that doesn't really want to be in back, so he chooses to be on the side, and I constantly have to discourage him back, and so he will end up kind of doing an end around, and so I'm constantly discouraging him back with a squirt gun, or go on, Coulter, go on. So I have to kind of constantly encourage him back. But he loves love. I don't know why he's kind of staying away right now. So you can see these guys are shedding right now too. So anyway, well, that's Ridge. And he is an example of an over-alpine cross, which is one of my favorite crosses. You get that gusto of an alpine, and you get that gentleness of the over. And I just don't know where Thorn is. Maybe he's in the barn. Oh, here's Gus and Thorn. This is Gus. And then here's Gus. He's my only all-over pure overhausie. Gus is one of my headbangers. He's one of the reasons all these boards are up, because he just likes to randomly bash his head into the side of the barn. Gus is a real long-bodied over. It comes out of Dwight string. He's got some long-bodied ones. Traditionally, you would think that creates more of a vulnerability, but I haven't found that to be true yet. I have several long-bodied goats because a lot of that over that comes out of Dwight stuff is our longer-bodied goats, and they're super strong, they're very agile, and I really like the, get out of here, chicken, psst, go on. Sheesh, sorry, keep getting interrupted by goats and chickens. But Gus is kind of a weird goat. He likes love, but he does weird stuff that surprises me. He's kind of my X factor goat that does weird stuff that I just don't anticipate every now and then. He stays out of trouble. He's smart. He's agile. He carries loads really well. He's just kind of weird, and you're gonna have just kind of that weird goat. I've had a couple of them. He's kind of my weirdo on my string now, but he loves love. He's cool. He's not a jerk to other people. He kind of go along, come along goat, and so that's Gus. And then Thorn is the last one you need to see. Hi, Thorny. Hi, buddy. All right. So this is Thorn. Now again, Thorn's shedding right now, so he's not as beautiful as he normally is. He is my strongest and most respected goat among the other goats. But he's so gentle and he's so nice that he just doesn't ever push his way around. Again, another example of over alpine cross. He's Ridge's brother. And Thorn is just absolutely magnificently beautiful, super strong, agile. You know, he's arguably my favorite goat. I have probably a top 3, top 4. And he's just an amazing goat in terms, you know, I mean, he gets sleepy-eyed while you love him because he just gets into the love so much. He'll come and stand next to you. I can put a little kid on his back and they can ride him. He is just super strong, super trail savvy, always willing, doesn't have to be up front, isn't a jerk. Just a super neat goat. And Thorn is one that gets his feelings hurt really easily. And you'll notice that some goats can take more pressure, training pressure, than others. I have to be careful with Thorn because, like for example, one of the things I guess I want to speak to on this is, remember, you need to float your goat's teeth at 6 to 7 years old. You need to start having your vet looking. Their teeth become so pointed they can't grind their food right. Remember, what kills herbivores is their teeth. Once they can't grind their food any well, they start going downhill. So what they do is they go in and they grind off the tops on that. So these older goats, they end up with these big spikes, and then they'll end up with these sores on their gums, and you got to go in and grind them. Well, we wanted to see if we could grind a goat's teeth without putting them down, and I don't recommend you do that. It ended up being a wrestling match, and but more importantly, it took Thorn almost 6 weeks to kind of trust me again, because it was fairly traumatic for him. It would have been easier just to put him down, do it while he was drunk as a sailor, let him come awake. The main problem we were having is it was pretty close to dark, and you need to make sure they get back up, and goats don't respond very well. It can be dangerous for them to get the shot to put them to sleep, and so they do half loads and la 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 la. But anyway, Thorn is one who can't take pressure very much. He's literally taken like 6 weeks to a couple of months to kind of come back around to who he was after that. And so I do recommend that you're very conscientious about the goats that can take pressure, because there's some that you can yell at them, scream at them, you know, get them to go away, do whatever you need to do, and they just kind of roll through it and love you just as much the next day. And there are other goats that are just don't respond to pressure very well, so even being squirted. So anyway, that's kind of the string and different personalities. I hope that kind of stuff fill in some gaps or some wonders. I don't know how helpful this video is going to be for you, but I felt like I should at least put it out to kind of let you know the string and the different personality tendencies and how I kind of interact with them. So I hope that's helpful. PackGoats.com.